Hello everybody, good evening, welcome to the Nest, welcome to Belgium, welcome to Rosselaar, Norwich City, kicking off the first leg of their Belgian tour here this evening against Club Brugge, and we're here to bring you the team news. It's a beautiful day. I'll spin my laptop round and you'll be able to see what is a very, very nice, there you go, very, very nice playing surface that Norwich City are on this evening. I'll move my big fat head out of the way, and there's a bigger stand just through the glass there here in the press box. But yes, this is the first game of two, obviously, that Norwich are having here in Belgium. The first being against Club Brugge, the second being against Standard Liège on Saturday. And the Norwich City team has dropped. And the headline, I suppose, if you want to call it that, is that Idah starts for the Canaries this afternoon. So they line up with Long in goal, Stacey, Sorensen, Warner and Montoya as the back four. Fisher and Sauer looks like the midfield two. Kamara, Rowe and Sainz behind Idah. Again, this is subject to things moving around, but and those named on the bench: Archie Mayer, Finch, Reneka, Adeboyega, Hills, Tompkinson, Dedeji, Forsyth, Manning, Welsh, Springett, Miles and Ken Abo. So I'll just read that again for you. George Long in goal, Stacey, Sorensen, Warner, Montoya, Fisher, Sauer, Kamara, Rowe, Sainz, Idah. So that looks quite similar. So I would say what we're probably looking at is Long in goal, Stacey, Sorensen, Warner, Montoya, a free of Sauer, Fisher and Sainz, with Rowe and Kamara either side of Idah. That looks to me like the way that Norwich City are line up this afternoon. It looks like Callum Fisher in midfield again, which is an interesting. I thought he did very well there actually in the minutes that he did produce. But obviously not his natural position. I'm sure I'll be joined very shortly by my colleague Paddy to dissect it. But Jaden Warner back in, Jakob Sorensen as a centre-back. No Shane Duffy, no Grant Hanley. We've seen, because the club have put out footage, that that trio, so Gunn, Hanley, McLean, all have returned to team training after the Euros, after their participation in the Euros. Marcelino Nunez as well. Obviously, those guys seem not quite ready enough to be in a position where they are able to start this game. Whether that becomes one for Saturday or not, we shall see. In terms of Club Brugge, and I think there's only one thing really we're looking for when we look at Club Brugge, and I can tell you that Christoph Schollis starts for them this evening, which is an interesting subplot running through this game. Obviously, a player that Norwich City spent quite a bit of money on a few years ago to bring him from Greece to Carrow. Didn't quite work out for him during his spell in Norfolk. He then went on loan to Fortuna Düsseldorf. We all know what he did last year, and now he has moved permanently to Fortuna Düsseldorf first and foremost, who activated their option of 3.5 million to sign him from Norwich, before selling him to Club Brugge for what was their option, which was time limited, for €6 million. And he starts here tonight. Other names that may be familiar to you in that Club Brugge 11: Simon Mignolet is in goal, Et Taibi, Michele, Romero, Says, Vetlesen, Nielsen, Van Aken, Noosa, Nielsen, and Schollis. And their substitutes are too small, even with my glasses on, to read, but I'll do my best for you. They have Jackers, De Court, Wylan, Yamiogo, Williams, Splitters, De Schmidt, two De Schmidts, Ador, Talby, Judga and Vermont. So that makes up the Club Brugge 11 as well. And this is really interesting because they are deeper in their pre-season, I would say, than Norwich City. They've already played a couple of games. Norwich obviously kick-started theirs only on Saturday, but they would have played Stevenage. So maybe in terms of pure training time, it's not as drastic as maybe the games would suggest. But in terms of their season, I believe it starts a little bit sooner than Norwich City's. In fact, it does. So they play Norwich City today here, and then they have got the Belgian Super Cup final, so which I would imagine is their equivalent of the Community Shield. They play Union St. Gilloise on Saturday before their league season starts against Milan next Friday. So this really is their last pre-season friendly before the Belgian Pro League season kicks off for sure. Yeah, this is a really good setting, actually. I think you always half wonder when you turn up to these places what it's going to look like, what it is going to be like for Norwich City, and what sort of environment they are going to be in. And the answer is, well, this is a very positive one. This is a really good playing surface, a really good pitch. There was a load of Bruges fans outside who obviously will be hoping to see their game will see their team for the last time before their campaign starts as well, which will be interesting to watch unfold. But I'll just run through you that Norwich team again. They've got George Long in goal, Jack Stacey, Jakob Sorensen, Jaden Warner and Guilherme Montoya as the back four, Fisher, Sara and Kamara as, I think it will be Borja Sainz in that midfield three. So Fisher, Sara and Sainz in the midfield with Kamara and Rowe either side or on either wing, and Adam Idah up front. And those are listed on the bench. Of course, there are often names that aren't included on the official bench who do come on to play, but it's Archie Mayer, Tom Finch, Waylon Reneka, Emmanuel Adebayoga, Brad Hills, Jonathan Tompkinson, Uriah Dejeje, who certainly caught the eyes of a lot of people on Saturday with his performance. Gabriel Forsyth, only 14, sorry, he's not 14, he's 17. That's the heat getting to me. He's only 17. Manning, Finley Welsh, Tony Springer, Elliot Miles and Ken Abo. So that is Norwich City's 11. I think there's a lot to dissect there, and it's obviously, as you said, I think the international contingent have been back a day, so maybe Johannes Offerup and his performance team have taken the view that the likes of Nunez, McLean, Onel Hernandez has travelled. I know he hasn't been away, but he's come back from injury. Those type of players, this has obviously been deemed a little bit too early for. So it's interesting, particularly defensively. We had Hills and Duffy, didn't we, as the starting defensive duo on Saturday. That's obviously not going to be the case tonight. Jakob Sørensen reverting there and Jaden Warner, whether that is just Johannes Offerup getting a different look at his squad in different positions, or whether they are injury-related concerns. We will obviously ask the Norwich City head coach after the game, but Jaden Warner missed Saturday's friendly just with a tight hamstring, or a slight tight hamstring, so he missed out in that regard. And Jakob Sørensen obviously pushed into it, which given we saw him play in defensive midfield, it's interesting that Johannes Offerup wants to have a look in, particularly in that right-sided role. And we all know how Norwich like to build up now. They want to push that right back right on, which is going to be Jack Stacey this season, and that creates almost a back three really, where the left back tucks in Montoya, and I thought he did very well in that role. But of course, the challenge is that this is against significantly higher opposition here this evening, and that's going to give the likes of Montoya, of Jaden Warner, of Brad Hills, of all of those young players, Abu Kamara, Ken Abo, if he gets onto the pitch, the test and the level of opposition is just going to be pushed a little bit higher. Yeah, no Christian Fashnacht either in the named 11 that we've been given. There's obviously not been given a team sheet yet, which tends to have extended names on it. Angus Gunn is not in goal. Alexander Jeff Mann has said Jolis starts for Bruges. He does. Stephen is predicting a 3-0 Norwich win, which would be pretty remarkable given the opposition. Ryan, I believe Callum Fisher is in central midfield. It's a really interesting one on Fashnacht, isn't it? And again, no Shane Duffy either. Whether these are decisions that have been taken in light of load or of fitness, we're not quite sure. Obviously, we'll speak to Johannes Offerup after the game and get a full assessment on, or a full explanation on where some of the players are who are missing tonight, because it does seem that there's a few missing, and as I said, quite a few of them have linked up already. And my colleague Paddy is going to join me imminently to talk through what is, I think, a very interesting Norwich City starting 11, probably more so. Hello, Paddy. For the players that aren't in it. I mean, I was just discussing there. No Shane Duffy, certainly in the list announced on the team's social media. Whether they've made the bench or whatever, we don't know. But no Christian Fashnacht either. There's one
of the Norwich fans on.
There's a very good Norwich contingent here, but there's a few players who aren't here tonight.
Yeah, who we got? Because I've just been
no Shane Duffy, no Christian Fashnacht. Someone else will point out some other players, but obviously none of the international contingents. I'm guessing that is just timing, isn't it? If they came back yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. I think I've not got it in front of me, but I did have a quick glance, and the bench is very Northampton in terms of youth element.
Mayer, Finch, Reneka, Adebayoga, Hills, Tompkinson, Dejeji, Forsyth, Manning, Welsh, Springer, Miles and Abo.
So I think maybe it's not a wholesale 11 changes at half time. I think we're in that territory looking at that. And I think with those players you mentioned, the senior players, they're here. There's a game on Saturday. I think it's looking over the two games, getting them the amount of minutes they feel they need. Duffy obviously played Saturday, didn't he? So, as did Fashnacht. So, yeah, we'll put that to Johannes after the game, just in case there's been any fitness related. But my initial sense would be, looking at that bench, that he just wants to go exactly. And to be fair, he said that in the forum to us last week, that these first two games particularly, this would be an approach. Two almost different 11s for 45 minutes. quite a challenge for those young players if he goes wholesale and you're playing against Champions League opposition. But we'll find out a little bit more about it tonight.
Yeah, and I was just saying, and maybe you're aware of this, maybe you're not, but Bruges in a very different place in terms of this is their final pre-season friendly. They've got the Belgian Super Cup on Saturday against Unions and is it Gilloise? That's it. Yeah, so they've got them, and then their league season starts next Friday. So they're in a much sort of the latter stages of their pre-season rather than where Norwich City are. But yeah, really interesting, isn't it? The players more so that aren't here. But let's speak about one that is definitely here and not on a private jet to Glasgow.
Is he not?
Definitely not. Adam Idah, first obviously outing for him since he returned from Celtic. It's going to be really interesting to watch him tonight.
Yeah, really good. Hello, mate. Actually on a live, mate. We're on a live here, mate. We're on a live. Oh.
It's all right. There you go.
They want to listen to you rather than
they want to hear from you, not from us.
No, I'll leave it to it.
Yeah, no, cheers, man.
We're on a live. Yeah. You come on if you want. Yeah. Mr. Adams, Mr. Napper.
Yes.
What was the question?
Adam Idah,
yes. Idah told us about Adam Idah, but it's good to see him, because straight away, we've known it anyway, that he's signed, sealed, delivered, and he's heading to Glasgow. It's far removed from that. We know there's an interest. And you probably sat Adam Idah down and said, would you rather go back there? If he's being honest, he probably would, because he had such a fantastic time there. But the position, as much as we're aware, is that Norwich have a valuation. Until that valuation's hit, then it doesn't progress beyond talks.
Yeah.
And tonight is visual evidence of that. It's Adam Idah leading the line for Norwich. As Johannes said at the forum, look, I want to get him in the group. I like what I see. I want to work with him. I want to see him in pre-season. He's been as good as his word starting tonight. He only came back in, didn't he, after a week or so ago, and first real opportunity. Probably Northampton was too soon for him, but tonight, and it's really interesting to see the dynamic now, see what Adam Idah offers in a Johannes Thorpe Norwich, and then where it moves from there won't all be down to Norwich, obviously, but in the here and now, he's a Norwich player.
Yeah.
And is until something changes.
Yeah, and I think Johannes has obviously been full of sort of praise. So was Ben Napper at that forum event. But
should have got him on.
We
should have just entered.
We should have just let him sit down. Yeah. But I mean, you look at, and various coaches have spoken about him highly, and that's because of the profile he's got, because of the attributes he's got. I think we've seen him burst at Norwich City. There's a real quality striker there, and probably what happened at Celtic was Brendan Rodgers got that out of him a little bit more than we've seen here, and whether that's confidence or whatever, or a change of scenery. But if he can harness some of what he got at Celtic and managed to achieve at Celtic down here, he's got a real chance at Norwich City this season.
Yeah, I mean, you all through his career, there's a player there. There clearly is a player there. You can unlock what he's got, and there's a lot of profiles of strikers, and you've seen them in Norwich shirts over recent seasons. They don't have what he's got, but it's extracting that consistently, making him feel, which is I think where he felt at Celtic, even though he didn't start really huge volume of games, but he felt like he was almost a central figure. I think I recall one or two interviews up there when he said that he felt, rather than he was kind of a bit part who came in and Timu Pukki came out, or just Sargent came out, he was actually, when he was on the pitch, the focal point, and the play went through him, and a lot of that is obviously down to Rodgers and the type of profile striker he wanted and how he fit it. At the back of my head, there is that, and it isn't meant to be in any way dismissive, but it's a very dominant Scotland team in a league that is it on the level of the Championship. I don't think it is in terms of top to bottom. So, this idea that he'd go up there and score key goals, he'll come down and translate that again. Not necessarily the case, because we've seen it in a series of Norwich managers where he hasn't managed to translate that potential that he showed at development level. It feels like routinely we talk about it has to be now, it has to be now. You keep looking beyond my shoulder, mate. Yeah. So, but it feels like this season now if it's going to be for Adam Idah here, it has to be this season. Because if not, that'll be yet another manager who hasn't felt he could really trust him to be his frontline striker. But from what Johannes said on first sight, we'll obviously ask him after the game tonight, he likes what he sees in Adam Idah. He feels there's a player there who could fit into his system, much like Brendan Rodgers clearly felt with Celtic. So let's see how it plays out. But there's things that Norwich could control around this situation. One is Adam Idah is a Norwich player and is for the next 4 years contractually. And if Johannes Sporp wants to be involved, then he will remain involved. The thing they can't control is obviously if Celtic or another come along and actually put down an offer which they feel is approaching his valuation, which, as we're led to believe, is not the case as we sit here tonight. So, if you put me on the spot, I'd still feel the way this has played out so far that maybe something will happen between now and August the 30th. They've sold a player, haven't they, recently, Celtic, last few days?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, for about 4.5, reportedly, million. So, maybe the funds are there now to sort of step up their chase of Idah. But, in the short term, he's a Norwich player and will remain so. So, you just hope tonight he goes out there and maybe just shows us all a little bit of what he showed at Celtic in the Celtic shirt.
Yeah, and the level of opposition as well, it would be a real good statement. I'm sure he is aware as well that what he does on the pitch for Norwich can impact what Celtic do. If he comes and scores goals, then that is probably going to make the clamour, certainly from what is a very ferocious fan base up there, even bigger to sign him. So it's probably a little bit of a win-win for him, and it's a really interesting one in terms of to see how it unfolds, particularly I think in Belgium, but also throughout pre-season. You get the sense it's one that is going to rumble on until the window closes one way or another, unless it's resolved. And by resolved, I mean unless
we should have spent that for a while.
Yeah, we should have. I don't know where it's gone now, but yeah, we should
back,
have.
we'll ask him.
Yeah, we should have. One other one I wanted to ask you about before we leave, before we go and make sure we get other bases covered in terms of our channels. Callum Fisher in midfield again. That's another interesting. Certainly looks that way anyway, unless there's a surprise that we've missed. But that's really interesting, and I thought he was quite good there actually on Saturday when he played.
Yeah, I like the look of him. Yeah, I mean he was really involved in that area of the pitch, particularly the way Thorpe wants to control the ball. You need good technical operators. Gabby Zara obviously springs to mind. But I liked his movement. I liked his sort of spatial awareness. He was switching the play. He was comfortable taking it in tight with players around him. That didn't seem to faze him. He's got that athletic build, almost Gerrard-esque in terms of his build. So he's rangy. That I don't think that side of that role would trouble him. And it looks like at that lineup that he is going to try and get in midfield. So clearly, Johannes Thorpe liked what he saw as well. And it's another opportunity, and that's the beauty of where we're at the minute. We thought Deji alongside him was good on Saturday in that second half. It's a clean sheet of paper for players young and old now under this manager. And if you impress in training and impress in these games, you move yourself up the pecking order. And he certainly isn't going to have any preconceived ideas that, in the case of Callum Fisher, well, that's a right back and a right back only. I think he's clearly seen something in terms of the technical ability that lad possesses. And let's see him tonight against top class opposition.
Good stuff, Paddy. Thank you very much. Thank you all very much for watching as well. As that will be across Pinken channels. We've got a flash sale at the moment in terms of subscriptions. Was it 50% off, isn't it? I should memorise this.
Absolute really, bargain.
Yeah,
it is. £15 for the year. What could you buy for £15?
There you go. That's cheaper, I think, than it's cost us to get here today, actually. So there you go. That's the bonus.
It's cheaper than your food bill, right?
No comment. Thank you all very much for watching. Enjoy the game. Be it you follow it via our channels or maybe watching a video of it elsewhere. And we will catch you very, very soon from sunny Belgium. Enjoy the afternoon.